Hey there, YouTube. My name is Sean. Welcome to my channel. I've had videos up for, Jesus, 6, 8, 10 years maybe. I never put up any videos of my own like this. I never had a reason to or a desire. I put up a few videos of a musician I once knew. Um, as sort of a tribute, and I'm going to leave those there, but I think I'm going to start adding my own content. I've been active on YouTube for maybe a little better than a year as a spectator and a commenter on videos. I've participated in some hangouts, particularly in the guitar community. Um, Although I never got really that involved in some of the drama that's been going on, and I'd like to keep it that way. About me, I do play guitar. I'm not a great guitar player by any means, but I love to play. And I'm also very handy, and I like tinkering with modifying guitars. Last year, I built myself, well, this was a kit guitar, but it was just the body and neck. It wasn't all the electronics. The electronics I did on my own. Um, this I chose a guitar for my kit build. Of the current guitars out today, the mass-produced guitars, my favorite one, the ones I like the most, are the PRS. And I don't know the exact model, but it's the carved top PRS, and that's what I wanted to build. So that's what I did. This was a cheap Chinese. They were selling it as a kit on eBay. I contacted the seller and said, "Look, I only want the neck and body. Keep the electronics. Will you sell me that for this price?" And I think it was like $120 shipped to my door from China, which wasn't that bad. Um, but it's a mahogany. I don't know what species, but it's some sort of mahogany body, mahogany neck, and it is a solid maple cap. It was approximately 3/4 or maybe just shy of 3/4. So it wasn't figured, which is why I painted. One of the reasons why I painted it. Um, so I left the body natural. Body and neck is natural. The top I did or sort of the faux binding, or it's the bare edge maple. That's just the bare maple there. And then the top I painted is multiple layers of silver metallic. Just the metallic, no paint. It was just silver metal flake and a red candy. So I did alternating layers, and that kind of made the on the video it probably doesn't show up well, but the flake kind of gives you uh, varying depth. I modified the electron. I wanted more of a full control like you have with the Les Paul. So there's the three-way switch here. Um, and these are concentric knobs. I don't know if it shows up there, but you've got, that's the tone, and then the bottom part is the volume. Or maybe it's the other way around. I have to have it plugged in to figure it out. But this is for the bridge pickup, and this is volume and tone for the neck pickup. And then I have coil splits on both. These are Gibson 490, a 490T and a 490R. Um, I had to do the fretwork. It was a cheap Chinese kit basically. I had to do the leveling and crowning. They were very sharp on the sides. Now it's very smooth. And one thing I did add to the headstock is I added a 1/4 inch. Um, that's an ebony cap that I added on there, and I beveled it. And two channels that I got to give shout outs to that have been, actually three, sorry, three channels that have been particularly helpful in this and my upcoming project is Crimson, and I'll put links below. Crimson Custom Guitars. They're a guitar manufacturer out of England, and for a guitar manufacturer of their, they're not mass produced, but they are a guitar company. They're kind of maybe like what PRS was 15 years ago, or thereabouts. I don't want to disparage them if that's sorry, Ben. But Ben Crow is a phenomenal luthier, guitar maker, and but they've got. If you need to know how to make or fix something on a guitar, chances are he's got it somewhere in those videos. And I'll put the link to his channel below. Will Gelvin of Gelvin Guitars. His channel is Will's Easy Guitar. He covers a few different topics related to guitar, but he is a guitar manufacturer, Gelvin Guitars. He's a small independent. I don't think he has anybody working for him other than himself. But he makes some great guitars, or great looking guitars. I've never played one. One thing I'm really intrigued about are his VIP pickups. You can have, it's like either 4 or, well, depending on which model you choose, either 2, 4, or 6 pickups in one. Best I can, with different outputs. So you got like a very warm vintage, and then you got kind of an 80s shredder, and you got super output for the death metal of today. So shout out to Will. And then a smaller channel, although he helped me out a lot just watching his videos, and also he made a video specifically to me. It's Ken Boudreau of Boudreau Guitars. He helped me out as far as my upcoming project, and I'll mention that quick. I'm just starting, so there won't be much on that. But as I said, shout out to Will. When I made the cap, when I put the 1/4 inch, the shafts for the tuners were too long. These are Schaller M6, I believe. They're Schaller. I don't remember what model. I think they're an M6. Or no, not the M. Anyway, the shafts were too short and they wouldn't reach through. So what I did was I countersunk, and I don't know how well it's going to show up on the video, but you can see there how they're, maybe as I turn it, there you go. I've kind of countersunk. They're not all the way through the ebony, but then you can see how low they are in comparison to the so this was really fun to make, fun to play. So enough about that. My next project. Now, as I said, that's my favorite style guitar for what's available today, at least in mass produced. My favorite guitar ever. It's probably the sort of an unusual one. You know, you hear a lot of guitar players there. Oh, what's your favorite guitar? If you had your dream guitar, any guitar you could want, and you often hear, oh, you know, 59 gold top or 60 whatever Stratocaster, or you name it. You know, any of the older vintage ones oftentimes are what you hear. My favorite guitar ever, and I actually got to play one a couple times. The smoothest, most well-balanced guitar in my feel was, the company is still in business under Gibson. They bought them, and, well, we'll leave it at that. But it's Steinberger. Steinberger was a small company. For those who not know, they were a small company. They originally started out in Brooklyn, New York. They quickly outgrew that. They were the ones with the headless guitars. As far as I know, they were the first ones with the headless guitars. They started out in Brooklyn, New York. Ned Steinberger, his first design was with Stuart Spector, the Spector bass, the NS design. And I believe that's still available. That was groundbreaking in its day. Contoured front and back, very ergonomic. Some of you may remember the Klein guitar. That was, some people called it a Steinberger because it was just a Klein body, and they bought Steinberger supplied Klein with the neck and the parts. Um, they quickly outgrew Brooklyn. They moved to Newburgh, New York. And I actually went to the factory at one point and interviewed with Jeff Babbitt, who was the plant manager at the time. I was hoping to get a job there because at the time, I only lived about 30 to 40 minutes away. Um, that never panned out. Um, but anyway, it didn't stop my love for Steinbergers. I love the GM model, which is the one that has sort of a Strat sort of shape, but it's a headless guitar. Um, it's a Strat shape, but it's slightly different. Some people, it's you either love it or hate it. And here's the template that I made up. I actually just cut the template. It's not fully worked out, but some people call these butt cheeks. And the tremolo is going to sit in here in a cavity, and then it has the little tuner heads out of the back of the tremolo. I'm going to make a two humbucker design, which would be a GM2. Um, I'm not gonna do my own neck because I want to build this as close to original. I'm building basically a tribute guitar. I want to build this as close to the original specs as possible. Steinberger used to make their own necks. Now the Steinberger started out. They're the little boat oars, the ones that are just little rectangulars. Those were one-piece carbon fiber or graphite, molded graphite. Their necks on the GMs were a wood body with a bolt-on neck. That neck was a carbon fiber or graphite neck, which they made up until the late 80s or early 90s when Gibson bought them. Or no, until about 92 when Gibson bought them in the late 80s, and they stayed in Newburgh until about 92, 93. And then Gibson shut down that factory and moved production to Tennessee, I believe. After they moved production, apparently they sold off all the tooling in Newburgh, and they were outsourcing their necks to Moses. So Moses graphite. So I'm going to buy a Moses neck, and that's going to be the single most expensive outlay for this, which is why this is going to be a long project, because I'm buying things as I can. I also had to buy a couple tools. I'll probably still have to buy some more tools. But I cut this out just this morning, and I figured, well, now's as good a time as any to create my channel and start adding content. I want to thank Ron, and I know I'm going to butcher the last name, but Ron Luczak, and I'm sorry, it's Luczak. Luczak Guitars, and I know he's out of Michigan. He's another small independent builder. But check him out, luczakguitars.com, and once I find the link, I'll put it either in the description or in a comment. But he helped me out getting the template made. That's why I don't know if you can see, I have some paper glued on here. He helped me out with because I didn't have access to a real GM. They're very hard to come by, and when you do, they're bank to buy. That's the guitar body. This, I made a template for the cutout, or not the cutout, the cavity for the tremolo, and I did it like that so I can line it up. The body is going to be, it's a two-piece hard maple, and I glued up that blank last night. Whoops. I glued up that I blanked last night. So once I get this, I got to take this to the spindle sander and just clean it up, bring it right up to the line. Just get some fine points worked out. It's a little bit rough because I cut it out with a jigsaw. I went as slow as I felt necessary. But just a forewarning, I'm not just a guitar guy. I mean, I'll do some repairs or builds, but my builds are very slow and few and far between. And as I said, it's just as finances allow. I also do others. I'm very much into music. I'm into camping and outdoorsy type stuff. So I might throw up a couple videos on camping hints and tips or bushcrafting type stuff. So I don't want to get locked into just being a guitar channel. Not that there's anything wrong with that. A lot of the channels that I've subscribed to are more or less just guitar channels. Well, anyway, folks, I've gone on. I'm over 15 minutes, so I'm sorry if I bored you. If you liked what you saw with my kick guitar, and if you like the idea of, I haven't seen too many videos on people building a headless guitar of any type, really. There's one or two with the cheap Chinese kick guitars, but those overlord of music. If you're ever interested in a headless guitar, whether you get a kit or whatever, the Chinese kits come with, it says overlord of music on it. It's not, well, there are no licensed by Steinberger tremolos anymore, but it's nowhere near the quality. It's kind of like getting a $40 Chinese Floyd Rose. You might be happy with it for a month or two, and then it'll start giving you problems. So with that said, I'm going to leave this as it is. Thank you for staying with me. If you like what you see, hit like, hit subscribe, and leave comments below. And in the future, unless it's really necessary, I kind of rambled, and I'm sorry. I'm here almost 18 minutes now. So in the future, I'll try to keep them down like under 10 whenever available. All right. Thanks a lot. Take it easy.